All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to begin our meeting. Call to order our recess meeting of January 28th, 2025. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Beck?
Present.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Here.
Commissioner Eversol?
Here.
Commissioner Graham?
Here.
Commissioner Helton?
Here.
Dr. Highlander?
Here.
Dr. Mackey? Commissioner Sharp?
Here.
Commissioner Shipley?
Here.
Chairman Smith?
Here. All right, our invocation and pledge will be by Commissioner Chauncey, so please rise.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, everybody. For our invocation tonight, we'd like to invite Pastor Alex Hernandez with the Basilica of Saints and Peter and Paul. And I will lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Lord, you have provided for each and every one of us life this day to do what is good, to share in your goodness. And as you have throughout the centuries asked us to share in your work of mercy and justice, that each and every one of us could do what we need to share in that good and holy work of mercy and justice. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please face and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, sir.
All right. Our county attorney has requested a brief legal meeting prior to continuing our recess meeting. So gentlemen, if you would please join me in the back for a brief legal meeting. We'll be in recess. All right, we are returning from our recess legal meeting. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Here.
Commissioner Beck, Commissioner Chauncey,
Here.
Commissioner Eversol.
Here.
Commissioner Graham.
Here.
Commissioner Helton.
Here.
Dr. Highlander.
Here.
Dr. Mackey,
Here.
Commissioner Sharp,
Here.
Commissioner Shipley,
Here.
Chairman Smith.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I show one recessed agenda item.
That's correct, Chairman. 126-29.
Great. Madam Clerk, please read 126-29.
Resolution 126-29, a resolution approving the reallocation of bond funds previously allocated to Turf Tamer, Inc. and resolution number 522-37 to fund the settlement of Turf Tamer, Inc. doing business as Thrive Outdoor, Inc. versus Hamilton County, docket number 23C624.
Move for approval. Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Hollander. Let's roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker.
Yes.
Commissioner Beck.
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey.
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Helton.
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yeah.
Dr. Mackey.
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp.
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley.
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes. 126-29 passes. Now adjourn our recess meeting. We'll go into our January 28th agenda session. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Beck.
Here.
Commissioner Chauncey.
Here.
Commissioner Eversol.
Here.
Commissioner Graham.
Here.
Commissioner Helton.
Here.
Dr. Highlander.
Here.
Dr. Mackey.
Here.
Commissioner Sharp.
Here.
Commissioner Shipley.
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
All right, we have no presentations today. We'll be looking at minutes for January 14th, 2026 recess, January 14th, 2026 agenda, and January 21st, 2026 regular meeting next week. We will also have 4 reports to enter into the record. That takes us down to resolutions. Madam Clerk, please read 226-1.
Resolution 226-1, a resolution to approve and accept applications for notary public positions, the bonds and oaths of notaries previously elected, and the oaths of deputy sheriffs.
All right, 226-2, please.
Resolution 226-2, a resolution recognizing the accomplishment of Signal Mountain High School in winning the 2025 Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association Varsity Girls Cross Country Championship and awarding funds from the Hamilton County Schools Champions Fund for the purchase of championship rings.
Move to approve?
Yeah.
Oh.
This agenda. Appreciate the answer. All right, see no lights. Madam Clerk, 226-3, please.
Resolution 226-3, a resolution recognizing the accomplishment of Signal Mountain High School in winning the 2025 Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association Varsity Boys Golf Championship and awarding funds from the Hamilton County Schools Champions Fund for the purchase of championship rings.
Thank you. Still no lights. Madam Clerk, moving on to 226-4, please.
Resolution 226-4, a resolution honoring the life and service of former Tennessee State Representative Tommy F. Brown and recognizing June 25th as Tommy F. Brown Day.
Definitely be taking that up next week. Commissioner Mackey, do you have anything to add, sir?
I think everyone got a copy of the resolution. It cites what she has done. It speaks about the impact and the benefit that she's brought not only to Hamilton County, but the state of Tennessee. And to that point, this body, when I listened last week, it seemed to have been unanimous. So I brought the resolution with the idea that instead of it being from me, that it's from the entire county commission. And if no one objects to that, that's the way I'd like to present it.
Very well. Thank you, Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Mackey, with your permission, you and I both taught history and worked with Black History Month. I just want to comment, it's very appropriate that we're honoring the life of this individual in Black History Month, which is February, in case some people are not aware of it.
Point well made. Thank you.
Thank you,
Chair.
sir.
Commissioner Beck.
Mr. Chairman, will the family be notified? Will they be here on that day?
Commissioner Mackey.
I have been in communication with some of the family members. I don't know how many. They'd have to travel from Texas and New York. But the ones that are here, they will be notified and asked to be present. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Mackey, have you talked to the mayor's staff or the mayor's office to maybe do a proclamation as well?
No, sir, but I will. I think that's a great idea.
Can we do a proclamation and just something nice for the family?
I'm looking around for the mayor now and see if I can get him to nod his head, yes, I think. Oh, yeah, I'm getting a thumbs up. I'm getting a thumbs up. So we'll do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Seeing no further lights on our committee of a whole items, that takes us down to announcement of committee assignments. Today in committee, we will have finance and budget. Commissioner Eversol, you have one resolution. Building and economic development, Commissioner Shipley, you have two resolutions. On public safety, Commissioner Beck, you have one resolution, and public works and zoning, Commissioner Highlander, you have two resolutions. We will do those in this room unless you otherwise dictate during announcements, immediately following the conclusion of the agenda meeting. So with that, it takes us down to announcements. Commissioner Shipley.
No announcement.
Commissioner Baker.
Like to welcome a good friend of mine here, Eleanor Davis. Welcome, glad to have you here. And also like to thank Hamilton County EMS, EPB, and all the first responders over this past weekend. I know we really get kind of escaped. I told my wife on Saturday, we've escaped this mess, and then the power went off. So should watch what I say. But they all worked very well, very diligently. Chris, your crew, is Chris here? Chris Adams? No? Anyway, just all the staff. Just wanted to say thank you. It was a little more than we anticipated, but they handled it well. So my thanks.
Commissioner Mackey.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I must tell you that for me, 3 and 4 months ago, there was a lot of contention among the commissioners, but it seems of late we've taken a different turn, and that commissioners are trying to work together and just represent their district and the county. And I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Beck. Commissioner Sharp.
Thank you, Chairman. Just want to note that it's really nice to see a room full of Hamilton County citizens participating in our local government. Civic involvement is critically important to have accountable elected leadership, and I'm proud to see that our community has come out to represent what they believe in. I thank you all for being here. I wanted to note that for future meetings, particularly if there's the anticipation of a large number of participants or attendants to the meeting, if we could add the video monitors out in the hallway to the setup list. I know that they are not currently on, and I've received a couple of messages asking if we could get those turned on. I'm being told that we could, but it's probably going to take an hour. I'm not sure that we're going to be here an hour. I just wanted to note that for everyone, if anyone out there is listening, it has been noted that is something that we need to do before the meetings. Chairman, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill.
No announcements.
Commissioner Chauncey.
No announcements.
Commissioner Highlander.
Just briefly, I spoke with Chief Pitts right before our meeting, and there was a pretty bad house fire out Commissioner Eversol's district, Collegedale. With the bad cold that we're suffering, I just ask all the citizens to be very cautious with anything that causes a fire, and also to protect themselves and their animals, keep them warm. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Eversol.
Thank you, Chairman. Just real quick, I just want to continue to piggyback on what a couple said. These volunteer fire departments weren't just out putting out fires, but they're out there with chainsaws cutting trees that are falling in roads and stuff. So just really appreciate what they do, and they do it without pay, and really, to me, that's a remarkable service that they provide our county. So appreciate them. That's all, Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Graham.
I too want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues here. Our first responders have done an excellent job, and I understand we have another cold wave coming in right behind it. So keep them in our prayers, and I look forward to what they do every day. I mean, they're the unsung heroes of Hamilton County, plus our volunteers. I mean, we wouldn't have the services we have if it wasn't for the volunteers that we have. I do have a couple of constituents here today, and I've talked to several actually, and I just wanted to say welcome. Thank you all for being here. Like Commissioner Sharp just said, I love to see this kind of a crowd here about an issue. I'm just glad to see it. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good, sir. Yes. Attorney Varnell. Administration?
No announcement, sir.
Very well. I want to share what a few of my colleagues have said about the group here in the room. We've had a lot of conversations, if you guys are paying attention, over the last several months about changing our meeting times. Traditionally, this body has met in the morning, which a lot of people felt like prohibited the kind of attendance that a lot of citizens would like to be able to come to these meetings. If moving meeting times would allow large crowds on just a regular basis to show up, I think it would be fantastic. I would love to see more people and more involvement and more engagement directly in these meetings. Many of us do our work one-on-one with constituents, whether it's email, phone call, in person. So please know that all of us are available for that as well at any point in time. This is a great opportunity to see this body at work. But there's also, don't let this be the only opportunity you have to engage with this body. Everybody up here is accessible. Please, I've had a number of emails from some of you that are probably here in this room. I've tried to get back to all of them. Please keep them coming. This is how we engage with our constituents. So I appreciate that. I will say this, knowing that there might be one or two of you in here about a particular topic, based on the stickers I'm seeing, our rules allow for a 10-minute maximum on any particular topic to speak about. I want to invite people to come to this mic. You have a 3-minute per person. However, I would like to hear from as many of you as possible can squeeze into that 10 minutes. So if those of you that have comments can just be mindful of everybody else that may want to speak, please tell us what you need to say and try to give everybody a chance at the microphone. We will pause in between to maximize that amount of time that you have to address this body. Just want to let you know that before we move into that portion of the meeting. All right. So with that, I'm going to make that announcement. It is time for the public to discuss anything other than zoning. We will ask you to come to the mic, give your name and address for the record. And again, we'll have a maximum of 10 minutes on a specific topic. So please be mindful of those around you and try to give everybody an opportunity to speak would be great. Committees are after. Hi, please go right
All
ahead.
right, hi, I'm sorry. My name is Jess Bonham. I live in Glass Farm in District 4. I'm here to speak about the 287G contract and its impact on every resident in Hamilton County. 287G agreements were created to extend the reach and amplify the resources of a federal agency that has demonstrated a clear disregard for human life and public safety. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office entered into an MOA with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Department of the Homeland Security, on March 13th, 2025. We know this agreement comes with some funding, training and travel costs for designated officers to receive 287G instruction from ICE, access to ICE systems, and supervision related to immigration enforcement functions. This agreement does not provide ongoing funding for the program's operation. This is not a grant or cost-sharing agreement. The costs associated with salaries, overtime, and benefits for deputies assigned to 287G are not included, and detention costs, housing, food, medical care, transport related to ICE holds are also not included. Based on information shared by the Sheriff's Office on Facebook, we know that it costs our county $91.95 to house one person per day in our county jail. 58 community members were detained on ICE holds in September, another 42 in November, and 42 in December. Based on a very conservative estimate of only 2 days on an ICE hold for each one of these people, because these are people that we're talking about. These are mothers, fathers, children, siblings. Our county has already spent more than $26,000 on this agreement over just 3 months. That's $26,000 to strip people away from their families. Overcrowding is a known issue in our jail. Our jails stay close to capacity each month, and serious health and safety risks have arisen from this for both those detained in the jail and those working within it. Based on Tennessee's Department of Corrections monthly jail report, our population was at 92.1% capacity in February, 96.9% in May, and 91.4% in September of 2025. People are dying at our jail at a rate that dwarfs national averages. Our county is facing 6 lawsuits for deaths over the past 3 years, and we suffered another avoidable death just last month. Do you know that the 287G agreement does not cover legal defense costs if deputies are sued for actions under 287G? And that we also have to shoulder settlement or judgment costs arising from civil rights violations. So I ask you, are you willing to squander our resources on the capture, detainment, and sometimes death of our neighbors, of our loved ones? This agreement shifts federal immigration enforcement onto local taxpayers with no meaningful federal reimbursement. And that's why I've come to County Commission today. We elected you to be stewards of our financial resources. You have control over our county budget and how much money we invest into
Ms.
local
Bonham.
programs and institutions.
Sir, you've hit 3 minutes, and we try to limit each person and be respectful of those that wish to comment. Thank you. Commissioner?
Chairman, you made reference to there being a 10-minute limit. And you know how I feel about that. But now, having said that and seeing what is being said and how many people, is it possible for us to extend the amount of time that we allocate to them?
Sir, if you would like to, ladies and gentlemen, this is not, thank you. If you would like to make that recommendation to the body, I'm always up for that, for my colleagues to extend time if they so see fit.
There's a lot of people who want to be heard. And I don't know that an extra 10 minutes would be okay. And I'm just trying to look around and see what may be the will of this body, what may be okay, additional time wise. Anybody got?
You have a second on additional 10 minutes, sir?
Chairman, I would gladly second that if there were a motion made to do that, to do so.
I make the motion, and again, it's a lot of people, so I'm gonna say 15 minutes. Additional. Thank you.
Commissioner?
Absolutely.
All right,
25 total.
happy to do so. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, still, please be mindful of everybody. I do want to hear from as many people as possible. Thank you, Commissioner. Please go right ahead with your name and address first.
My name is Amir Hamid Andalib. I live at 629 Godsey Lane. I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I graduated from Macaulay. My father was an immigrant from Iran. He escaped the horror that we are seeing unfold there as we speak. An ongoing massacre of 20,000 people hidden from the world by a media blackout. As an Iranian, I have been given a dose of the existential torment that my brothers and sisters in Palestine have been living in, as they have been witnessing hundreds of thousands of their people die. My father served Chattanooga. He became an American in Chattanooga. He ran an intersection on the North Shore called the Loft Restaurant, and my father is my hero. I was hoping that the mayor would be here to hear these remarks. Mayor Wamp knows my father, and I know that his father is his hero too. I follow in my father's footsteps in similar ways. I work at Howard, a school that my father taught me to support because of its meaning and its love for families and for Chattanooga. It has stood steady and it has never abandoned its people. I serve these people because I have fallen in love with them. I don't just love Howard, I would die for Howard. Just like Alex Preddy did, the nurse who was disarmed and killed by Trump's ICE in Minneapolis. Just like how I know my coworkers would die for our kids too. As a man who loves this city with all of my heart, who is the son of an immigrant, who was also a public servant, as a man who is an Iranian American, who you do not know the innocence that I have had to swallow that is dying inside of me. I need a leader now, not a chief executive, not a business executive, and not a financial advisor. I need a mayor that I can talk to my kids about, who has courage, who sees what's happened and has the foresight to see that if you do not stand up to Bill Lee and publicly remove your support for Donald Trump, then I will be forced to remove my support for you, even though I truly do love you, Mayor Wamp. Actually, I do. And I don't care what anybody says, I truly love you. But my heart is shattered. We have to watch the movements of a president that has betrayed his oath. He is killing innocent Americans and co-signing cover-ups We've seen it. My eyes cannot unsee and my heart cannot unfeel. It is broken. I have two questions for the mayor, Mr. Wamp. Will you publicly denounce Donald Trump and your support for him? And my second question, will you send a letter to Bill Lee telling him that Trump's version of ICE is broken and it is never welcome in Hamilton County? Tell Bill Lee that Trump's ICE needs to be fixed before it comes here and kills innocents in our home. We've had to swallow enough, and we must make a stand.
My name is Summer Swafford, and I live at 4026 Norwood Avenue, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 37415. I have a lot of points to be made. I'm going to try to say all of them with one really quick breath. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for extending the time. So my concerns mostly today lie with the local focus and the impact. So specifically, how are we going to use funding most effectively on local county law enforcement to reduce crimes and strengthen the community? So when you look at statistical rates as far as booking and arrest, when you look at the other category, which is where some of the Latinos and the Hispanics are going to be, they actually don't take up the highest rates for arrest records, right? So it feels like those efforts are not for our better interests. So, however, this group does experience arrest exposure, particularly with lower level offenses. So why this matters is because policies like 287G attach federal immigration consequences to local arrests, regardless of whether those crimes were violent or serious. So the question we should be asking is, what problems are we trying to solve locally? Because I feel like the goal of local law enforcement, if it is to reduce crimes and strengthen the community, then we should be focusing more so on, I don't know, going after repeat offenders, stabilizing the pretrial conditions of courts and jailhouses, as well as investing in long-term rehabilitation services. So you have like substance abuse programs, work release programs, all these other things that focus on and are within the county's scope of responsibility. And all of these things, if we focus on that with our funding, rather than trying to expand into federal immigration, where the capacity on a national level has already substantially been increased, and we see it to continue increase, and I'm sure we will over the next 3 years, we need to focus on what we can fix locally, and what we need to focus on is our community. Because I think I can say for all of us here, the community, a strong community where we want to raise our kids, is the community that's going to come together. And when you divide law enforcement and residents and you fade away that trust, crime rates are going to spike. That cooperation is going to dissolve. And guess what? Your community is broken, right? There's more internal divide, there's more internal warfare. And I think what we can all say that we want here is to see everything go back together. So right now, associated like with violent or repeat crimes, you're attacking and targeting the wrong population statistically. And in doing that, you're risking diverting already limited resources that could be out there on the streets, making our public a more safe community. And so with that, I say that I think that the local office and law enforcement should be remaining clear in their role, which is to serve the community, reduce crime, and strengthen trust. So with that, I say please consider the 287G as it aligns. Does it align with these goals, the community goals, the local goals, or is it shifting to away the attention from the work that is a seemingly most effective practice for Hamilton County and its safety in the streets? Thank you.
Hi, Daniel Garner of the Stonewall Farms subdivision in Hickson. I'm not a left-wing fringe lunatic. I have never been influenced by a paid agitator. I'm not a seditionist. I am not an insurrectionist. I do not seek to overthrow the government. If there's any other false accusations leveled against people of this room like that, and I've forgotten how to denounce them or deny them, I apologize. But we are here to stand up for our community, as the previous speakers have said. We are calling upon you to end the 287G contract with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, an agency who routinely are denying the civil rights of legal residents as well as citizens. And gentlemen, I say gentlemen, it's all gentlemen in the council. If ICE violates the civil rights of a single person, then all of us are at risk.
white and black and brown. I don't care what your color is. Okay, we cannot stand here and believe that the federal government will protect our civil rights if they are routinely violating them by ICE actions. We need to distance ourselves from ICE. The time has come to end this contract. Okay, that will make our community safer. Thank you.
My name is Ben Rankin. I live at 1001 North Natchez Road, District 6. Communities rely on trust to protect and care for themselves. We must be able to trust our neighbors, our local officials, and our police. But right now, I don't feel like I can, and I'm hoping you're willing to help me with that. ICE has thoroughly proven that they are not worthy of trust, and in fact, they are a credible threat to our communities. The fact that HCSO is in voluntary partnership with them undermines their own credibility and trustworthiness. They said it was about immigration, but they've detained US citizens and legal residents. They said immigrants are bad for us, but immigrants paid $4 billion in taxes to Tennessee in 2023. They said they were going after the worst of the worst, but the number of people in ICE custody with no criminal record is higher than those with a criminal record. They said Renee Good and Alex Preddy were domestic terrorists. You watched the videos. Maybe you decided you don't like Good or Preddy, but I don't believe for a second that you genuinely think they deserve to be shot multiple times. ICE has killed 9 people in their custody this year. That is 1 death every 3 days. Last year, 32 people died in their custody. That is a rate of 43 per 100,000. Do you know the homicide rate in Tennessee? 11.3. That is 4 times higher. When I look at the facts and ignore my feelings, it sure looks like ICE is doing more harm to people in this country than they're doing good. And it sure looks like everything they say is a lie. Renee Good and Alex Preddy were obviously a result of reckless violence. But it's not just on the officers. All the way up to the top, minutes after both of them were killed, the highest leaders were in press conferences deflecting accountability and labeling them domestic terrorists. All they do is lie and apparently kill people at a higher rate than the next highest state's homicide rate. That's who HCSO is associating with. Is that what HCSO stands for? Commissioners, is that what you stand for? I'm asking HCSO to terminate the 287G contract and asking you, the commissioners, to threaten to refuse to increase funding for HCSO until Sheriff Garrett does so. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Evelina Irene Cote. I live at 2700 North Orchard Knob Avenue. I'm a lifelong resident of Chattanooga. I was born here, went to college here. I ran for office here as part of City Council, along with the Chattanooga Democratic Socialist America. I strongly condemn Hamilton County's 287G agreement partnership with immigration enforcement. It's not ICE doing it primarily here. It's all sheriffs at the jail and the police transferring it to there. The county has deported over 500 of our neighbors in 2025. This is a crime against humanity, overwhelmingly for non-violent crimes. People are hardworking fathers and brothers, ripped away from their families, sent to countries they fled and may face torture and death in. You may not be directly killing them, but they are going to die at their home countries potentially. This is you are either actively supporting or complicit in this crime. History will not look kindly upon you if you do nothing. This is fascism. If you want to know what you would have done under Hitler, Mussolini, Pinochet, Salazar, you have a chance to do it right. You have a chance to make this right. People might not know this about me. I'm a woman of faith. There are times when the Lord tests us. I believe this is one of those for you. Use all of your levels of power to end the 287G agreement, whether that's cutting funding to HCS to do that or anything, even as individuals publicly come out and condemn it. Do that or be condemned by history, potentially to hellfire. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Gaston. I live at 5 Brockhaven Drive in Chattanooga. I haven't been in this room since I was in 3rd grade. I got to sit in one of these seats. It was pretty fun. Since then, in the last 15 years, I've been serving in the defense industry. I was in the 75th Ranger Regiment and Joint Special Operations Command, served as an intelligence analyst. I've seen the realities of national security and immigration problems in other nations. And I can tell you that what ICE is representing, what DHS is representing, and what Donald Trump is representing is not true. These problems and the way that they're being addressed are not how you do them. They cause more violence. The violence that I saw over multiple deployments to Afghanistan is the kind of stuff that I'm beginning to see in the streets in Minneapolis. You might say that's dramatic, but it's the same stuff. If me or any of my men that I served with ever disarmed somebody and then shot them in the back, we would have been arrested immediately on return of that mission. Previously, I was serving in a position in Southern Arizona where Donald Trump and some other people went and visited and saying that it was one of the highest trafficked places for immigration. It was common to go hiking up there in the Huachuca Mountains in the winter and come across dead bodies of women and children that had frozen overnight trying to get a better life. I can tell you this, there is no right answer to what we're trying to solve, but the one that we have is not it. ICE is not it. This administration is lying and everything is wrong about what we're doing. I hope this serves as a warning that it's generally not the generation that's affected, like what we've seen in the Middle East, that has to bear the cross. It's the one under it. All the children and young people that are seeing what is unfolding now, if it doesn't change, they will be the ones that choose to resist and will be much more violent than what we're seeing now. You have an opportunity to come up with your own form of change and not work with ICE. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Leah Morris. I live in Highland Park at 1715 Anderson Avenue, District 4. I'm speaking today on the voluntary nature of the 287G agreement. There may come a time when our cooperation with the federal government becomes mandatory, but until such time, it is your civic and moral responsibility to do right by your neighbors. You have been elected to serve this community, and while that may feel hard right now with this agreement, please imagine what it must feel like to be a member of this community and to feel betrayed by the people sworn to be public servants, sworn to protect this community. I urge you to do the right thing while it is still easy to do so. Your cooperation in these matters will directly affect whether or not this continues to be voluntary. Your community is depending on your strength of moral character and your willingness to continue to uphold the good faith you've built with the people of Chattanooga. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Alexander, 733 Battery Place. I'm here to ask Hamilton County Sheriff's Office to terminate the 287G agreement. 287G agreements extend the reach of the Trump administration's hyper-militarized deportation agency by recruiting local law enforcement agencies to do ICE's work. We already know that far from keeping communities safe, ICE is dangerous, violent, and it brutalizes our communities with chilling impunity. Beyond the more general and resounding condemnation of ICE, there's also a wealth of documentation that illustrates the specific harms 287G agreements introduce into local communities. They increase racial profiling, create a pervasive police state, isolate immigrant communities, lead to civil rights violations, cause family separation, and drain taxpayer dollars. I recognize that the Hamilton County Sheriff has chosen to opt into the jail enforcement model, and I can't help but wonder why we would voluntarily take on more daily operational cost at Silverdale at the expense of Hamilton County kids losing parents, students losing their friends, employers losing their workers, not to mention the trauma these policies inflict on people, which is generational and irreparable. Counties that have effectively ended their 287G agreements, such as Davidson County, Tennessee, reported that racial profiling was more likely to happen under such agreements, and that the vast majority of people processed under 287G agreements were arrested for nonviolent misdemeanors, like driving without a license or a missing taillight. These are people who worked, paid taxes, were longtime, upstanding members of the community, and/or were legal residents. People who were booked into the jail under suspicion of being foreign-born and run through the ICE database. The 287G agreements are designed to extend the reach of ICE by tricking us into racially profiling and criminalizing our residents, friends, and our neighbors. And this is done at the expense of our local budget, our collective conscience, and the well-being of our community. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ilsa Hampton. I live on 716 Forest Avenue in Chattanooga. I served in the Army as a combat medic in the 82nd Airborne 2nd Division 1325 Airborne Infantry Unit. I was an instructor at the Medical Simulation Training Center at Fort Bragg, North Carolina for over a year. It was my job as an NCO to instruct the youth of our Army and how to safely conduct operations, de-escalate, and protect their brothers and sisters, but more importantly, apply medicine to whoever needed it. ICE agents are untrained and incompetent. They do not abide by values and ethos that servants of the government and of the people are required to. They murder without remorse and incite terror and fear through escalating violence. They obstruct medical care to victims, a war crime in any other theater. They act with perceived impunity, and we must end that perception. Please end the 287G contract. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Eddie Bell. Excuse me. I live on the district of Mr. Shipley. So I live on 1020 Trojan Run Drive, Sunny Daisy, Tennessee. Okay, so I wasn't planning on talking today, but here I am. I am an immigrant, gentlemen. I have lived in this country for 34 years. I am a US citizen, yet I live with anxiety every day. I carry my US passport card and my wallet, just in case. Even so, when I see a Hamilton County Sheriff vehicle, my heart races. The fear isn't because of anything I have done wrong. It's because of how I look and my accent. Things I cannot change and should not have to. Citizenship does not erase fear when you are visible and audible differently. And if this is how I feel as a citizen, I cannot imagine what my fellow immigrants, especially those with a legal status, are feeling right now. These are people who work hard, pay taxes, and contribute every day. They have built much of this county, literally. Many of the subdivisions where some of you live were built by immigrant hands. They are not criminals. They are our neighbors, co-workers, and friends. I also want to acknowledge my own privilege. I was able to obtain my citizenship through circumstances that most immigrants will never have. Through my in-laws' position and connections, and with the involvement at the time of a US senator. I was able to secure a fiancé visa. Hard work alone does not open those doors for most people. Fear is not abstract. It affects mental health, families, children, and entire communities. When people are afraid to drive to report crimes or to show up for their kids, public safety suffers for everyone. I ask you to live with humanity, restraint, and compassion. Please consider the real impact your words, policies, and partnerships have on immigrant communities. We deserve to feel safe, not targeted, seen, not fear. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Edith Perez, and I live in 2622 Berkeley Drive, Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was not going to talk, but after seeing everybody, I'm really proud of who's here, but there's a lot of people who aren't here that look like me. I'm a Mexican-American immigrant. A lot of people don't feel safe coming, so I'm really happy that everybody's here to represent, and I'm here to represent them. I've lived in Tennessee for 27 years and 9 in Chattanooga. I graduated UTC. I'm an active member of society. I work downtown. And this is what, and working, and letting ICE work here is not gonna make our country safer. It's not gonna make Chattanooga safer because it's gonna make it worse. Seeing the videos in Minneapolis has been very terrifying. And if we are gonna go to any direction, I would not be proud to be a Chattanoogan. there is videos where ICE has been attacking people just based solely on their accent. I am fortunate, I do not have an accent, but I know many people do, and that does not mean that they are subject to this discrimination and to any potential potential hurt. And this is the last thing I want to say to some of you. I was very surprised that we led with a prayer. I'm an active member at my church in downtown, and this is what I want to say to you. How is the world going to look at you if you guys sit and do nothing when I'm so sorry. And if it's how's it going to see Christians taking a backseat while people are suffering in the hands of ICE and hand what the administration is doing in the hands of you guys? You guys have the power to do so. How he has called us to be in the light of the world, to protect the people who are suffering, to protect the immigrants. And I just want to leave it at that and hope that you guys follow what all of us here are wanting to do, and to make Hamilton a better place.
Good afternoon, Christine DePietro, 1015 Brentwood Terrace, so District 3. I am also against the 287G contract. I believe it erodes trust in our community. If you're a victim of domestic abuse, you are less likely to call the authorities. If you live in an immigrant community, if you're in a car accident, you are less likely to call first responders because of this partnership. But what I actually want to say in front of the constituents to the commissioners, because I know the rules, is that I know how many seats are up for reelection in Chattanooga right now. The filing date, I believe, is February 13th. County mayor, county clerk, all 11 commission seats, sheriff, things I'm forgetting. There is so much potential and passion and smarts in this room. And I would love to see some of the people here engage in the political process that way, and to challenge all of you, not necessarily because I want you to lose your seats, but because I do believe that that challenge creates really incredible discourse for our community and really makes us think about our ideas and what we're doing. So I would like to say to you, in front of everyone else, really consider running for office. Let's talk.
I'm Judy Fargo, 2316 Collins Lane. I'm in Mr. Smith's district in Lakeside, and I'm not a public speaker. I hope you can hear me. My voice doesn't carry well. I'm the little old lady, who not so little, but lives down the street, and not who you would expect to be following an ICE agent, but I did it about a week and a half ago when he was leaving work. And I stuck to him like glue through Chattanooga, across the speed bumps at the airport terminal. And when he finally pulled into a parking spot at a strip mall, I got out and I went up to his window and I said, I just wanted to see what an ICE agent looked like. And then I proceeded to read him the Riot Act, not the abbreviated version either. And I told him that he worked with a bunch of thugs. And my late husband was in law enforcement in Texas, of all places. And he did law enforcement right. And I said, there's a right way and a wrong way to do law enforcement, and you're doing it the wrong way. My husband worked for the Austin PD and came up on use of excessive force, and he reported it and continued to report it until something was done. And an officer was fired and a young officer was demoted. And then he worked for the state attorney general's office until his boss ran for governor and lost. And then he worked for a sheriff's office because the attorney general did away with his unit. He worked for the state, for Burnett County Sheriff's Office then. The sheriff was crooked, and my husband and another guy wore a wire and for the FBI and the sheriff was thrown in prison. And our family paid a price for that in stress. We're afraid to use our phones because the sheriff had been doing illegal wiretapping. And I say this to say that Chattanooga is a great place to live because of diversity. And if you strike up a deal and keep it with ICE, it damages that diversity. It damages the community. It damages the safety of the people who live and work here. And I've never protested anything in my life until now. I'm almost 75. But it's time to speak up. It's time that the people who sit by and watch, I never understood Germany, how the German people could sit by and watch Hitler come to power and do nothing. And now I get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at time. I see one more speaker. If you wouldn't mind, we'll go ahead and let you make your comments.
Thank you
Keep
so
it under
much.
3 minutes if you would.
Yes,
And we'll move on to our next topics. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Megan Gilbert. I reside at 3901 Weldon Drive in Eastridge. And I have been a resident for Tennessee for over the last decade. And I moved here from Michigan, and I was fortunate to get my college degree from the University of Minnesota Duluth. I was one of those kids that didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew I was supposed to go to college. So I ended up in the business department, because maybe that's what folks that don't know what they're doing do. But I ended up going for marketing, as that was the most creative aspect as business as I understood it. Now, my mom, on the other hand, always knew that she wanted to be an art teacher, but she also had kids young, as some do. So it wasn't until her kids were a bit older and life was a bit more steady financially that she decided to go to college as an adult. She, of course, got straight A's and got a job soon after completing her degree. And me, without having any experience, struggled to find a marketing job after college, but I did land lots of sales positions, and this is where I'm going with this story. I had a number of jobs growing up and throughout college, but just out of college, I was now quadrupling my mom's teacher salary by merely upgrading cell phones. Obviously, this is not because my work was more important than the teachers, but because we as a country consistently invest more in sales and profit than in public education and people. These are distorted priorities, in my opinion. In talking with teachers here locally, they are literally making less money this year because of the lack of step increases and the increase in healthcare costs. How can we talk about investment and opportunity without first looking at how we're supporting our public schools? The public for 2026, approved by this board, left our schools with a deficit of over 16 million, at the same time that we see public resources directed towards ICE operations that have led to fear, family separation, and disappearance of our neighbors and murders across the nation. This budget, the one that you put together, is how our commission shows our community what our priorities are. Are we going to continue to underfund our schools while being complicit in the injustice happening in our country? That's the question. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will move on to any other public comment on other topics. Any? All right, seeing no other public comments and no other business, we will be adjourned until February 4th at 4 p.m. All right. I didn't.